Brand South Africa was established in August 2002. At the time, the world was unsure about what to think of South Africa. At a recent roundtable discussion, Brand SA unpacked some of its research findings. Brand SA's mandate is to essentially improve South Africa's international reputation. The roundtable discussion that took place here at Power FM looked at factors that affect South Africa's global competitiveness, its state of social cohesion, and also the levels of patriotism and optimism amongst ordinary South Africans.
We are the official marketing agency of the country, or the nation brand. Now, what that means in essential terms is the nation brand is a very broad concept in a way. We approach it in the following way, that we say South Africa has a population of 52, 53 million people, depending on what the latest count is. We have the most diversified economy on the African continent, with a huge array of very sophisticated products, from space technology all the way through to basic minerals that we excavate from the country. Then you add to that the profile of the South African character and culture. If you look at the impact of our music, our performing arts, our visual arts, then the profile of the nation, just mentioning a few examples, that profile of the nation brand is all the things that we then use to tell the story of the nation. Who we are from a cultural point of view, from a business and investment point of view. When you go into the investment space, we've got a huge amount of stuff we can brag about. If you look at the World Economic Forum that ranks South Africa's airports 11th in the world in terms of quality of air transport infrastructure. If you look at our rankings in a lot of the things like the Ease of Doing Business Index from the World Bank, certain areas where we perform incredibly well compared to other major emerging markets like China and Brazil and Indonesia. So from a nation brand marketing perspective, then we try to work with all the possible attributes and strengths that the South African nation produces. It's not just government. Government is one player there, the policy space, the interventions led by government, but actually much more of the story of the nation brand comes through the people. So that's why we try to have a lot of interactive research sessions or engagements with stakeholders where we absorb a lot of either criticism or things that we didn't even know of, things that are being done in the country that help us relate a story of who we are and what we are active on.
A key finding revealed that South Africans are generally optimistic about their future, debunking several other surveys conducted recently which reflect high levels of pessimism based on the state of the economy.
One thing we must be careful of in South Africa, is that economic cycles change over time. So if you got to connect your pride to a country just in economic performance, then if you are a Greek person today, you will be the most negative, skeptical person about Greece you could possibly imagine. And just the inverse is true. If you look at the outcry in Greece on the condition that the country is facing. So I think what our research tries to do is to step out of some of the kind of immediate issues and try to understand at a fundamental level, bottom level, South African, how proud are they, how committed are they, how do they view the future, and how do they view what has changed.
What was interesting to note is that South Africa's corporate brand is flying high and has largely shaped South Africa's image abroad.
What we found through the research is that the perception of South Africa is to a large extent shaped by our corporate brands that are active in peer markets. And that also, interestingly enough, that the reputation of the country is shaped not so much by policy or what government does, or whatever, but it's shaped by either somebody's direct engagement with a South African company or product or brand or a person.
Xenophobia was one of the controversial issues mentioned. In fact, it was hotly debated, with some saying the causes of tension were not adequately addressed, while others blamed the media for sensationalizing the magnitude of the problem.
I think we are highly headline driven, and sometimes those headlines can be very deceptive. I think we are a very moody nation that way. If the weather looks a bit funny, then the national mood goes sour. I think we need to be a bit calmer when we engage with these issues. I think we need to have much more nuance in how we engage with this. It's like the case of xenophobia or questions like that. You know, the way the media reported on it was very uncomfortable sometimes, because it made it seem as if on just about every street corner you're going to have somebody wielding an axe to hit somebody with, and that's just not the case.
There are many benefits to having a consolidated brand image, the most important being it creates strategic advantages in terms of trade and tourism for the country in an increasingly competitive marketplace. Nashina Mohammed for Joburg Today.